Hi, I'm Maree Torrey, and I am here today interviewing author Brandon Trammell about his new book, Leave It Better, a financial blueprint, game-changing strategies for business owners to grow wealth and leave a lasting legacy. Brandon, I'm so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much. Tell us, what made you decide to publish this book?
Oh, so many things. How much time you got? I think really for me, what drove me to actually dig in and make it happen is because I sat down with so many clients that didn't have access to the kinds of strategies that we really help our clients with. And I found for them, the clients that I had worked with, how powerful these strategies were in flipping the current system on its head and giving them more power, more leverage, more control over determining their outcomes financially and from a legacy standpoint. It just seemed too good to not share. So here we are.
That's awesome. And tell us a bit about yourself. What's your history? What do you do? All those good things.
Well, I've been serving and supporting clients in dealing with their personal finances and their business finances for somewhere just over 15 years. And now in this phase, this season of my career, it really is the most inspiring and powerful because I get to help people achieve the outcomes that they really seek to achieve and that are inspiring to them. It's been a long journey, and here we are at, I think, the most inspiring and powerful point where I get to help people the most.
That's amazing. And what do you think are some of the biggest challenges that your business owner clients face?
Taxes certainly is high on that list. And also, I think what I've found as I've dug into this work with people is that creating meaningful endeavor in their life has been one of the most challenging. And as we get to lean into that work, that's really where I think people have found the most benefit. And the challenges of the system and the financial services industry have really been the number one challenge for them because, unfortunately, a lot of folks who work in financial advisory, financial guidance, aren't equipped really with a system or equipped by a system that is really designed to help them dig into the deeper things with their clients. It's a lot of times very surface level. It has financial products associated to it. And unfortunately, that doesn't equip them to really spend the time to go in depth and educate their clients and really support them in unpacking a lot of the other things that go above and beyond what accounts do I have, what products do I have, and are those helping me to achieve my financial goals? That's where the meaningful work is done, unfortunately. And because a lot of advisors just aren't incentivized, they're not paid based on how many clients they educate and how deeply they educate them. They're paid on product placement. And I get it. I've been there. And I'm fortunate in this phase of my career to really be able to help with the meaningful work. And yeah, we address the finances, and sometimes it's the products or the accounts or all of that. And there's more work to be done than just that.
It sounds like what you're saying is that oftentimes what happens is that people fall into a one size fits all and that they end up with kind of cookie cutter solutions instead of something uniquely tailored to them.
I obviously couldn't have said it better myself.
A lot of business owners assume that their CPA is going to do this kind of work, this kind of strategizing for them. What are your thoughts about that?
I think there are some great CPAs out there. And they do a great job of really capturing what has happened, putting a nice bow around it, and submitting that and sending it off to the IRS for them to review. I think what's in short supply are tax strategists. And this is really the key. This is what successful entrepreneurs, business owners, investors, this is what they need. This is what they're looking for when they're out there trying to find a CPA. So when I get asked by people, you know a good CPA? I say yes. And what are you looking for? What do you really need out of that CPA? And so for us, really having the team that we have and the experience that is behind this team is one that is very heavily engaged in tax strategy, which requires an understanding of the person, the company, the goals, and the legacy that they're really trying to build. Because tax strategy, yes, does have to do with what have we done? Report and packaging that up and reporting it. But tax strategy is forward looking and it's comprehensive in its understanding of the person and the company and the goals. And those things just a lot of times cannot be quantified by numbers. And so that's where we get to play at a deeper level and really unpack and understand the person, the family, the company, and the impact that they're seeking to have. Because ultimately, that positive impact, that's really where the meat and potatoes is. The money is important because it helps us to achieve that impact or achieve the lifestyle that we seek to live. But ultimately, the money is just a means to an end. It is not the end in and of itself. So that work around positive impact and crafting legacy that's based on the values and the goals around that impact for the person, that's the meaningful stuff.
Absolutely. Can you give me an example of someone that you've worked with where you've helped them tap into that meaningful stuff?
Yeah, there's quite a few. So I'll narrow, I think, just to one specific example where I've helped this family business, right? Multi-generational family business where parents are involved, their kids and their kids are starting to be involved as well. But they were getting so mired in the administration of the money that really why they got into business in the first place was starting to get lost. And they really wanted the ability to, obviously, to minimize our tax liabilities, right? This is important because that frees up more resources for us to infuse into the business, growing that business, and also to embed some legacy, some family legacy in doing good work in the community, because that was what was really important to them. And they were doing that, right? They were already doing that where they were supporting programs and initiatives in their local community to really support women who had been a bit down on their luck, dealt a bit of a bad hand in one way or another, and just were struggling to really get their feet underneath them. And this family wanted the ability to be able to do that at a more impactful level, at a higher level, with more meaningful outcomes. And through the creation of these strategic entity systems and streamlining administration and accounting and take some of that work off of their plate and really giving them a goalpost, right, to really aim at for that legacy piece of digging in on that philanthropic effort. Man, the blossoming that we've seen happen as a result of that, the family is closer. They're holding family meetings around their philanthropic endeavors through the family foundation. They're having concerted conversations between all generations at the table, really giving input and feedback. And they're learning so much, not only about money and financial accounts and balancing and managing all of that, but really that there is meaning beyond the money, that the money can help the family really lean into and produce positive impact in places that are really important to them. And that's right there in their community. So not only do they get to contribute to that, but they get to see the outcome of that in their local community. And that's just been a beautiful thing to be a part of and to see unfold.
That sounds like it's so gratifying to be able to help create that kind of generational legacy and making sure that the following generations are educated. It's like one of the things they know is that oftentimes wealth only lasts through a generation or two. So having this kind of relationship with your grandchildren, being the example, teaching them with real life scenarios, I can imagine that will only have a phenomenal impact for their family line for generations to come.
Yeah, absolutely. And not to be overlooked is one of the key drivers of that wealth not lasting beyond maybe the second generation is the effect of taxation and the very deleterious effect of taxation, because that just tends to eat away at wealth. And as we're teaching generations, they're learning, they're becoming stewards of that wealth for positive impact and for future generations. And that just changes the way that the family engages with the money. It changes the way the family thinks about the money and ensuring that there are no holes in the bucket and no money is leaking out unnecessarily.
That's amazing. That must be so gratifying to see that unfold within a business owner's life.
Absolutely, it is.
Are there any common misconceptions that you see as prospective clients come through the door that you think people need to know about?
I think the primary one, and maybe even what has impeded folks from reaching out and setting time to sit down with us, is that they have this conception in their minds of what a financial advisor is and what a financial professional is and what role they serve. And I think for me, that's the main impediment to them actually reaching out, because they think either, A, I don't have enough to warrant this level of advisor, or these financial advisors are just out for a buck. They want to sell products. And frankly, these conceptions come from somewhere. So they've met with someone in the past and it didn't work out, or it turned out that they really were that glorified product salesperson, or whatever the case might be there on those conceptions. And that's a challenge we overcome. And frankly, that's one of the reasons we wrote the book, right? I wrote this book because I want people to understand how we operate, what values drive us, what inspires us, and why we do what we do in the way that we do it. And to clear away those conceptions for folks before they have to commit to talking to me, or they feel like they've got to put all this money on the table to talk to them, when that's not the case. And I want them to understand how we operate and why it's important to us, and even more important, why it's important to them and what it can mean for them to sit down and find out if what we do would be of value and benefit to them as well. The conceptions around who advisors are and what they do, I think is one of the major impediments. So we're trying to clear that away a little bit for them so that they can really understand why we do what we do and what it is we actually do before they make the phone call.
So what would you recommend as the next best steps for people listening to this interview?
Of course, the next best step is to get on the phone or to schedule some time to get on the phone with us. This is not a sales call, right? This is a 15-minute introductory call where we get acquainted, where I get a clear understanding of how or if we can help, right? And they get a clear understanding of who we are, how we operate, what we do, and whether we're a good fit for them and they're a good fit for us, right? So this is an introductory, no obligations call, because I think this is one of the other conceptions, right? Is if I schedule time on this advisor's calendar, then I have to commit to working with that person. And that's just not the case. This call really is, let's get to know each other. Let's find out what's on the table here and if or how we can help in you achieving your goals and you taking the next step toward some financial freedom and some positive impact.
So you heard it, folks. It sounds like it's going to be a good time for you to check out Brandon's calendar, find a time that works for you at your convenience, and see if you guys are a fit. Thank you so much, Brandon. I really appreciate you taking the time to talk with me today. I've been super impressed with you, the work you do, and the book is amazing. It's a fast and easy read, and I love how you take what can oftentimes be complex concepts and make them understandable. You put them in language that anyone could understand. And I think that's so valuable, especially when I think about it in the context of having further conversations with you, just knowing that you are able to really translate, because the tax code, for instance, is very complicated. And even smart people, I've been in business for decades and I still find it somewhat confusing. And one of the things I've really appreciated about in the book is the fact that what you're sharing and what you know is explained in such easy to understand terms. So if you haven't got a copy of the book yet, folks, grab one of those.
I've had some good help along the way, and it's an honor to be able to put this stuff out into the world and help people that are really looking to make positive change and decoding this extremely complex tax code and really demystifying what it takes to be successful at a financial level is just something that needs to be done more often. So it's an honor, and I thank you.
Thank you so much, Brandon.